Hi, it's Shane from Plant Based Runner, and today we're going to talk about how to dress for your gig. Okay, as a musician, I want to play. That's all I've ever wanted to do is play, and I don't want to think about too much else other than playing. But if you're a serious side person, you're going to have to figure out how to dress for gigs and know your gig, right? If I'm going out and doing a pub gig where I'm playing cover tunes, you know what? I can throw a t-shirt on and some jeans and whatever and go out there, and all the power to you. You don't have to worry about how you look as much as just the choice of material, because people just want to go out there, have a good time, blow off stress, dance, whatever, and you're just the background music to their, to them letting off steam from a tough week at the office or whatever. Don't worry about it. You know what? Dress how you like, but also know your gig. If you're doing a gig where the artist wants a certain look, then you're going to have to invest in that look, because that's important. One example is I played with a guy from Italy, and he was like an Italian crooner, and he had a very distinct idea of how the band should look. So I sussed it out. I went to actual shops where I had to buy a suit, and it was just the gig. It was part of the gig. If I wanted to play the gig, I had to go do that extra stuff. So I had to know exactly. And he was a sharp dresser. Like, he had a clothing budget that probably couldn't imagine how much it was. So yeah, the tough part was to not spend a ton of money, but get that look. So in the end, he was really happy. But it was just one of those situations where I needed to be on top of the ball for how I actually dressed. And it was important to the artist, so it was important to me. But you have to know your gig. Like I say, if you're at a pub and you're good with a t-shirt or just a button-down shirt and stuff, that's great. You know your gig. You know that people aren't really there to see you. They just want to dance and let off steam. But I mean, if you're doing a corporate gig, you can't show up in jeans and a t-shirt. You have to have a certain etiquette. And it's funny, at one point in my life, I was doing corporate gigs. And the thing about corporate gigs are they usually pay really well if you get good corporate gigs. Most of the corporate gigs I was doing at the time required a tuxedo. Um, as a musician, I don't want to wear a tuxedo, but I had to. That was just part of the gig. And if I wanted to make money to pay my bills and to play music, I had to have a tuxedo. So now came the decision: do I buy or do I rent? And it was funny because tuxedos aren't a lot of money, to be honest. If you can suss out a place that rents them, they blow off their stuff all the time. And the beautiful thing about especially being a guy, is tuxedo styles don't change that much. Sure, in the 70s they had the wide collars and all that stuff, but in the last 20 years, a tux is a tux is a tux. And if you're doing enough corporate, how many times do you have to rent before it makes sense to buy one? So you can go to a place that rents tuxedos, and usually they'll have a bunch for sale, or a certain time of year where they're blowing off their inventory. So go check that out and go talk to them and take care of it. Oh, oh, oh. I know guys that invested in tuxedos that would take them off after a gig, throw them in a corner, and then show up at the next one with all wrinkled up, or their white shirt has a history of every meal they've eaten stained into it. Um, Look after it. Look after your investment, just like you're looking at. It's part of your equipment. If you're doing corporates, that tuxedo is going to make you a lot of money. Look after it. Don't be a slob. Hang it up after a gig. Get it dry cleaned every now and then, and look after it. Have more than one shirt. I can't stress that enough, because it's just a visual thing when someone shows up in a wrinkly old tuxedo with the stained shirt. Sure, yes, technically they got a tuxedo for the gig, but they look awful. So look after it. You know what? A lot of times if I'm doing a gig with someone I've never played with before, I'll just call them up and say, hey, what's the gig like? What do you have a dress code? What are you comfortable with? You know, if it's a pop country gig, I can wear jeans and a t-shirt, you know, or sometimes they want button down shirts, or a lot of times a lot of acts don't care. They just, whatever you're comfortable in, just, you know, just don't look like a slob, basically. But I've gotten calls for tribute acts. I haven't really done any of those shows, but you know, if you're if you're in a Beatles tribute act, do some research and dress appropriately. I mean, I've seen tribute acts where they play the tunes and they don't look like the part and they don't sound like the part. Well, that's not really a tribute act. That's just a cover band doing that band's stuff. So, you know what? If you're in a tribute act, figure out how they dressed, and sometimes you even have to bite the bullet and get stuff made. If you're in like a 70s ABBA tribute band, well, you're not going to go down to your local store and find the outfits that they wore, so you're going to have to suss it out. Maybe you're going to have to pay some money to get it made, but if the gig's worthwhile, you'll do it. But always learn how to dress for your gig. And I know for myself as a musician, that part of the gig is the least fun. I don't get a lot of joy out of shopping for clothes for a gig, but sometimes it's necessary if you want to work. You know what? And you'll stand out if you put the effort in. So just know your gig, dress for it, ask questions, and in the end, it doesn't matter. You're playing music for a living. So what if you had to spend, you know, a couple $100 on a suit or a tux or to get clothes made? You're going to make that back. If you do a good enough job, you're going to be asked back, especially if it's like corporate stuff and all that. The tux to me was a no-brainer at all, because we ended up getting a lot of work out of that. And I made the one investment, and that was the only investment I had, and I was good for many years after that. So know your gig, ask questions, and dress appropriate for it. And you know what? People will remember that, and you'll make life easier for the act, and which means that you'll get the call back most times. So as much as we may not like it, suss out the clothes and dress appropriately for your gig. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Hey, if you like this video or any of the others I've done, hit that subscribe button. And if you're looking for bass lessons, head on over to my website, plantbassrunner.com. Go to my contact page, send me a note. We'll work something out. Thanks for watching.